Sports Information Director Andria Wenzel here with head coach Rick Vanderhook. We're less than 4 weeks away from opening day, so it's getting exciting. My first question for you is let's start with maybe getting a brief introduction of the changes in your coaching staff, with bringing in Jason Dietrich and then as well as undergrads Shane Costa and Corey Vanderhook.
It's nice now that the NCAA allows us to have some undergraduates, which gives guys that just get done playing professional baseball the opportunity to taste coaching and really coach. With our limitations, with only 2 paid assistants and 1 volunteer, it's a hard business to get into, and giving those guys the opportunity to come back and go to school and become a baseball coach is good. Shane has thrown in a lot of different things to us. He was a fantastic player, which does not mean a great coach. But the guys relate good to them. With him, he's working with the outfielders, and he talks with the hitters and the left-handed hitters in particular. And he talks to the guys about the stealing game, and has a very good, even demeanor, which the guys need. We all have different personalities, and his is just like that. And I think, I was questioning where Shane could be a coach afterwards, after coaching him. And he's got a good feel for coaching. And then Corey Vanderhook is back, then he's finishing his degree. And it just gives us another guy to work with the pitching staff. We have a very large pitching staff of 16 guys and only 1 pitching coach. That's a lot of people for him to work with. So to have another set of eyes and ears and somebody during the game to be able to go down and watch when Jason Dietrich has something else to do, it helps us tremendously. And then Coach Dietrich, I've known Coach Dietrich for a long time, and really respect what he's done, where he's been at his stays before he arrived here at Fullerton at Irvine Valley College. He did a good job and he grinded it out. He went from there to Cal State LA, did a great job there with Coach Shine for a couple of years. And then when Coach Shine went to UC Irvine, Coach Dietrich went with him and worked with him and Coach Silva. And it gave him a good relationship with what's going on. And when Coach Sarlis decided to leave to go to TCU, he was the perfect, most logical choice to come to Cal State Fullerton. UC Irvine's pitching is fantastic. They've always been good, and they do a good job of teaching guys how to pitch the same way that our guys do. So it wasn't much of a different philosophy or a change in anything. The guys came in, and he's got a good demeanor, and he works day to day with them, and they get along very well, and that's important with a pitching coach.
Now we're just a few days away from the first official practice of the season. Looking at the position players, you're bringing back 85% of your offense from last year. That has to be a good feeling to know you have such a experienced squad as far as position players are concerned.
It is. We do bring back a lot of experience and a lot of good players. Carlos Lopez is a 4-year starter. Richie Pedroza is a 4-year starter. Michael Lorenzen started for 3 years. Both the freshmen that played last year, J.D. Davis and Matt Chapman, are a year older. You throw in there Anthony Hudding, who played a lot last year, Greg Velasquez, who's played for the last 2 years. Chad Wallach, Jared Deacon behind the plate are both very experienced catchers. Chad's a year older after assuming a new position last season, and I've seen quite a change in him. But we can also get to complacency with it a little bit. That they've done it before and everything gets old, and we're trying to keep it fresh and energetic in what they do. But we have let them pretty much take charge of the offensive side of the team and, try to coach themselves, try to police themselves. And they've done a great job of it so far. We're getting ready to start official practice in a couple days, and we'll see how it goes from there. But right now I'm really pleased with what they've done and how they've gone about their work.
Now let's stay with the position players and maybe look a little bit at the lineup, starting with the outfield.
Well, the outfield is a tricky spot. As we talk every day about potential lineups and whatever, we have 6 guys that are all can play anywhere at any time for any team. Greg Velasquez in right field along with Clay Williamson. One's right-handed, one's left-handed hitter, and they've both been outstanding. Greg has really gotten himself more physical, stronger, looks the part. Clay has done the same thing. Those two guys are battling it out. You go to center field, and we have Michael Lorenzen, who's been a mainstay there for all of last year, and he'll be a mainstay this year, who's, we're trying to take some pressure off of him and not have him try to do everything, but he's as good a center fielder that's ever played at this school. He's as good a player. He just needs to go out and play baseball and not try to do things. Behind him, we have Austin Deemer, who was a freshman last year that played sporadically, and Austin's got himself more physical, and he's a lot better. In left field, we have returning Anthony Hudding, who's a senior, and Austin Kingslover, who's a senior. And those two guys between them are complete opposites. Anthony is a left-handed hitting, physical, everyday guy, and Austin Kingslover is the fastest guy on our team by far. Just really can really run, has really relaxed himself, had times where he played really, really well last year. And all we're trying to do is figure out how to get some consistency out of all of them. As we try to tell them, it's not their job to make out the lineup. It's their job just to go out and enjoy and relax and play day to day. The infield catchers, every guy's returning almost. They all three caught last year between Deacon and Casey Watkins and Chad Wallach, and Chad had a fantastic summer. Deeks had a great fall. Casey was hurt most of the fall. Then you throw in there the freshman A.J. Kennedy, who we brought in, and he's a very, very good defensive catcher. He's got a live body, can really catch, can really throw. But he's a freshman, and it's hard for a freshman to play that position. So they're making it difficult for us back there. And so it makes the competition good, and it helps take out some of the complacency. Carlos Lopez at first base with J.D. Davis. Both of them returned. Both of them have played a lot. J.D. at the end of the year last year was one of our better players and better hitters. This year, J.D.'s going to assume more of the role pitching too, which will be unique. In my career, I've never coached a guy who's been a starting pitcher and a position player and good at both. So it's going to be unique for us to try to figure this out, and it's trial by error. But JD did it in the summer and had an unbelievable summer in the Northwoods League, both offensively and both pitching. So we have that there. We have Matt Orloff, a fifth-year senior at second base, who is, I would say he is a titan, in and out. He does everything right. He's graduated from school in 4 years. He's in a sociology grad program right now. He is a very solid defensive player and plays within his means offensively. He's become a good hitter, can handle the bat, fits things well. And then we throw Jake Jeffries in there, who is a hitter. As we say, he grips it and rips it. And when he gets in the box, he knows what to do with a bat from both sides of the plate. So, those guys are battling good there. At shortstop, we have Richie Pedroza, who I think is the heartbeat of our program. He plays hard. He may be 5'6", but he plays 6'2". He's got himself more physical and stronger. And then Keegan Dale, who had a good fall again. And Keegan just needs to carry that over into the spring and relax and seize his opportunities as they come. At third base, we have Matt Chapman, who played some short for us last year. Third, he bounced around, who has had a great fall. Matty's played great defensively and offensively, so we feel pretty good at every spot. That we're two guys deep at every spot on the field. So the guys have gotten themselves a lot more physical. We're a lot bigger and stronger than we've been in the past. And I credit Isaac Salazar, our strength coach, who took the hours that we put into there, and we put extra hours in there to become more physical. And hopefully that helps us as we play along. But they all need to play better offensively this year than they played last year and play a little bit more together.
Okay, and speaking of the offense, can you give us a little bit of idea of how you see the lineup falling into place as far as who's going to provide the speed at the top of the lineup, power in the middle of the lineup? Who you kind of anticipating at this point?
Well, as I would see it right now, I would say the top of the lineup will be Richie Pedroza and Michael Lorenzen in the 1 and 2 spots. And you only bat those spots one time in a game. Richie is going to be the leadoff hitter. He did it last year. He knows how to get on base. He knows how to touch home plate. That's the big job for a leadoff hitter for us. Michael Lorenzen in the 2 spot kind of gives us a combination. Michael has tremendous power, tremendous speed. He's a tremendous hitter. So, I think Richie batting in front of him will give Michael a chance to do things. And it gives us a lot of options because Michael can do about everything offensively. The middle of the order will probably be Matt Chapman, Carlos Lopez, and J.D. Davis. I see Chapman and Davis having power potential, the ability to drive the ball, not so much home runs, but I expect to see more power from the home run out of those 2 guys than they had last year. And then Carlos Lopez, who's probably one of the most feared hitters in our league. And Carlos has power, but Carlos is just a pure hitter. He goes line to line, uses the whole field, so it gives us a good complement for Carlos to bat in between or in front of Chapman and Davis to break some things up. They hit left-handed, right-handed. Carlos hits left-handers as good as he hits right-handers. So it gives us some balance in the middle in there. And then Chad Wallach somewhere in the middle. He's actually been our most powerful guy throughout the fall. He led us in home runs. He led us in doubles. So, a much improved hitter that's started to be able to show more of his power out of his physicalness, which he has.
Okay. And then contrary kind of to the position players, looking at the pitching staff, only being about 50% of your innings back from last year. It's a fairly young pitching staff. So talk a little bit about that, who you're anticipating, just returning Graham as far as starters.
Yeah, the pitching staff is young again. So we dealt with this last year. Last year we brought less than 50% of our innings back. So, we have a little bit more experience. Kobe Ghana pitched a lot last year. Willie Cool pitched a lot last year. Jose Cardona got to get his feet wet. Tyler Peitzmeyer got to get his feet wet. So those guys know what to expect this time around. Graham Wiest is our only returning weekend starter, which gives us a little bit up from last year because last year we didn't have any. Dylan came back, and Dylan did an unbelievable job for us of leading the group, as Graham and Willie and Kobe have done this year. But right now we're sitting with 6 guys as possible starters. And we play 5 games in the first 5 days of the season this year. We play a single, a doubleheader, a single, a day off, and then a Tuesday game. So we're going to have 5 guys start. And so that'll give us a good feel early in the year to get a feel for who's going to do what. But we have 6 starters right now. Graham Wiest, Kobe Ghana, and J.D. Davis coming back, along with Justin Garza, Thomas Eshelman, and Brian Conant as the freshmen coming in. So they're all going to have opportunities, and they're all going to seize it. They've been doing a good job. They've been working hard at what they're doing, and they've all grown up. They've all gone through the fall. And as we told them when they left for Christmas break, when you come back, you're a sophomore. Thomas Eshelman's been unbelievable. I don't even know who to compare him to. He has unbelievable poise, great pitchability. He just doesn't get rattled. So he's done a good job. Justin Garza has the best arm of our pitchers. Can run the fastball up 95, 96. Got a good curveball and has really developed a feel for a changeup. And then Brian Conant's a left-hander, who's really the only left-hander we have that could start, that has developed pretty good. His fastball's starting to come around. He's got really good feel for a changeup and is starting to develop a breaking ball. So we have choices. Some of the freshmen in the bullpen with Kyle Murray, who's been fantastic for us so far. He's kind of starting to feel where he's at and that he belongs. I mean, the biggest thing is with those young guys to get them to understand early enough that they belong, and to understand that throwing strikes is the biggest deal, because I have an assumption that we should play good defense. We should be able to catch the ball. We should be able to cover ground. Last year we led the nation in least amount of walks, and we don't strike out guys. We still don't have the lights out strikeout pitchers. I think we'll strike out a few more guys this year with the experience that we have, but we're not into striking guys out. We're into getting guys out as fast as we can get them, and not giving away free passes on defense and free passes on the mound. They have to hit, and even if they hit 300, they're only getting 3 out of 10. It's not easy to score runs that way. So just trying to get the young pitchers to rely and let their defense play and trust their catchers and trust their stuff. And that'll take us a little while to get over that hump, but we'll get there.
Okay, and who do you anticipate in middle relief and closing?
Well, we're not going to have 6 starters, so one of those guys is going to slide into that role, along with Jose Cardona, Willie Cool, Kyle Murray, Tyler Peitzmeyer. Those guys will be the middle relief. The end of the game will be Michael Lopez, who's a submarine pitcher, and Barasic, who throws left-handed from the side a little bit, and then we'll cap it off with Michael Lorenzen, who did it for us last season. And we're going to try to do about the same thing. Every time he's done, the game's over when he's done.
And now, once again, you've compiled a very difficult schedule, bringing in Oregon and Texas A&M and Nebraska to Goodwin Field, and going on the road to play TCU and Oral Roberts. Just talk a little bit about the schedule that's kind of in front of you.
Well, you have to play a good schedule early in the year. It gives you a barometer of what the team's at and what's going on. And if you play good people, then you can find it out. If you don't play good people, stuff can get swept under the carpet because you're more physically better than they are. And so you don't have to be so detailed in it. And when you come out and you play TCU, who's going to be a top 10, top 15 team when the polls come out, along with Oregon and Texas A&M, and Oral Roberts is in the regionals every year and has played in super regionals, and not many people know who they are, but they're a really solid program. And so to play in those environments and play those teams, it just prepares us for the Big West. When we get into the Big West is going to be pretty good this year. UC Irvine's pitching, they return every guy and starters they had the year before that were out with injuries. Long Beach State has brought in a new crew of junior college pitchers. They have an experienced group coming back. Cal Poly, the Big West is a grind too, so we want to prepare for that and to prepare for our journey all year. And you got to get and go and get socked in the face, hopefully, and see how you rebound from it. And we need to mix in some Big 10 teams, some Big 12 teams. We try to get some ACC, SEC, some of that in there to help our RPI as we go through it also, which becomes a big deal when it comes down to the end of the season.
And a little bit more about the Big West. Obviously, it's a very competitive conference. Last year, 2 games separated the top 3 teams. So again, how do you kind of talk about the grind and how you kind of see it shaking out at the end of this year?
It's going to be a grind this year. I mean, UC Irvine may have lost their position players, but the whole game starts with the guy that stands on the bump in the middle of the field. And they, for me, by far, are superior to everybody else in our league, and maybe everybody that we play. They have the best pitching staff maybe in the whole country. And they're inexperienced in the field, but good pitching can mask a lot of things and deficiencies. And as long as they stay and do what they do, I think they're going to be a top contender not only in the Big West but throughout the country. Coach Buckley at Long Beach has got a bunch of his own guys in there now since he's taken over the program, and they're a lot more physical than they were, and it's a tough place to play, and Long Beach is always good. No matter when you play them or what you play them, they're as good as anybody. The Big West is a conference that's always lacked in respect. We don't get the respect of the PACs or the SEC or the ACC. yet not a lot of those teams want to come out here and play us. They don't like to come to the West Coast. And, Long Beach opens up at Vanderbilt, and we'll see right off the bat how good the SEC is the way I put it. And when the Big West goes in there, and if something goes wrong for Vanderbilt, they'll write up, well, it was early in the year, this and that. They won't give Long Beach the credit is due. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is always good. Coach Lee has always done a good job at San Luis. It's hard for them to get a lot of people to come in there and play, and they'll go play anybody on the road anywhere. San Luis is going to be solid. Coach Smith at Riverside always has a competitive team. So as we go through it in that way, UC Davis is bringing back some position players, and they're always competitive in it. And so, the Big West is a toss-up for me. It's a toss-up. Everybody says, oh, you got everybody returning and this and that. We have to play the games, one game at a time, from February 15th to the last game that we play at Northridge.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about your freshman class, what the fall has been like for them, and obviously a very highly touted freshman class, and kind of how you feel they've progressed from day one until now?
Well, I'll start with the pitching staff. When they came in, they were wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they've really settled in good. Really, really have got a grasp of everything. There's not as much confusion on it. We went out to get some power arms and some good arms, and we have some power arms. I mean, Justin Garza, he gets up to 95, 96. Kyle Murray pitches to 92. Henry Omama gets up to 93. Joe Navalon's 90. We wanted to get some more power arms in here to get a little bit more strength on the pitcher's mound, a little more power game. And I think we've accomplished that. With the left-handed side of it and Brian Conant, he has really progressed well. Big left-handers as freshmen have trouble doing some things just because it takes a while for them to get a feel for it. The whole system that we run with the middle infielders, we spent 70% of the fall getting the pitchers comfortable with what they do. So when the spring comes around, they don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'm hoping that comes. On the offensive side of it, Jake Jeffries is really injects something into the game. Right-handed or left-handed, he can hit. He's going to be a run-producing machine throughout his career here. He knows how to make guys come across the plate, which is a big deal, and it's from both sides of the plate. A.J. Kennedy behind the plate has really, really been a defensive stalwart back there. I mean, we try to explain that we don't care how he hits as long as he can learn how to catch and handle the pitching staff, and he's really improved on that. Tanner Pinkston is a 6'5" left-handed hitting first baseman that we see projecting taking Carlos's spot next year. Really a good hitter, really feel for the barrel. The problem with the freshman guys is all those returning guys coming back. Nico Darris moved from first base to left field, and he's out there with all that experience. And at times he looked like a fish out of water, and now he's actually swimming a little bit with those fish. So it's taken a long time for the whole group to kind of get into it and for those guys to work their way in. But the older guys have really helped them understand what's going on and how they go about things. So, as we look at it, when Carlos is gone, Tanner Pinkston will be ready to move right into that position, offensively and defensively. And we got a chance to lose a lot of the outfielders. Only 2 of them are sophomores, one's a freshman. All the rest of them are draft eligible. So Nico needs to be ready to move into that position with Clay and Austin Deemer for the next season. And David Omeda Barrera at third base, he offensively is way ahead of as he is defensively. But as we look with the pitching staff that we have this year, which will be older next year, we'll be able to slide those younger guys in and let them get seasoned on the job like the younger guys are doing this year.
Well, thank you, Coach. We're looking forward to opening day, Friday, February 15th versus USC.
Me too.